you a song. All right, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hello, my name is Kim Free, if we haven't met already. And if you are a familiar face, hello again. We are here for social media algorithm updates for 2022. I have been studying over the past week intently, and even this morning for multiple hours, gathering all my notes and preparing this for you. So it's part of something that I do, you know, regular research on the algorithms is part of my job. I consider it to be essential in my business. And so I do it consistently throughout the year, but I dove into it in more detail just recently. So something to think about for those of you that are here live, or if you're watching the recording later, I'd like you to answer for yourselves. If you're here live, feel free to add it into the chat. Where are you at with social media for your business? On a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated are you? 1 being like, not too bad today, because I recognize it changes all the time. 10 being, oh my word, head exploding. I am so frustrated. Please help me, Kim. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated are you? For me, it changes moment to moment and day to day because the algorithms change all the time. So before we get started, a little bit about me really quickly. I have been helping businesses with their online presences and social media for over 10 years. I've grown my social media agency, Small Town Girl Promotions, STGP, to 6 figures in about 2 years with the help of my business coach, Michelle Andrushak, who's here live with us today. And, you know, something funny, let's have a laugh together. I was looking, I don't know what I was doing. I was doing some research as always, and I came across the word GeoCities. Does anyone remember GeoCities? So in 2007, I was building websites using GeoCities, which is like super old school, for nonprofits. So, and I forgot about that. So I've been interested in tech and online marketing for basically my whole adult life. I have a passion for technology, obviously, coffee, yeah, raise your coffee cup with me here. I love people and helping people out, small business and shopping local. Farmers markets are my jam. So that's a little bit about me. And here we go, and this stuff too in the corner. Yeah, I have some credentials as well. So first, some facts. Actually, first, I want to say that I value transparency, and I will be mentioning my paid course briefly later in this presentation. So I hope that doesn't come as a surprise for you later. So first, some facts. 83% of Canadians have a Facebook account. Yeah, they do. And 51% of Canadians have an Instagram account. So yes, there's an increase in the use of Instagram, but Facebook is still the big bad guy in the room. And I say bad guy kindly. I also have a love-hate relationship with social media, I'll be honest, right? It's a tool, and sometimes it can be a pain. Facebook and YouTube are the 2 top social media platforms in terms of monthly users. So the people who are regularly logging in and scrolling and seeing all of those posts or videos, Facebook and YouTube are the top 2. And Instagram is used about half as much as Facebook worldwide. So Facebook and YouTube are still the superstars, no matter what you hear. So the average organic reach, so we're talking about some numbers real quick. Average organic reach for a Facebook business post right now is sitting at about 5.2%, which means that if you have a Facebook page, business page following of 100 followers, for example, only about 5, only about 5 people would be seeing each post if you're doing an average job. But I'm here to let you know that our team rocks it. Our average is sitting between 11 and 31%, depending on the client. And I am going to be crunching those numbers. We just reported those numbers to our clients in the December report. So I have to now go through all those numbers and find the average. And that'll be fun for me because I'm weird. So What does that mean if we compound that? So these are annual numbers. So if a Facebook page has 1,000 followers, for example, and if they are posting daily, which is what is recommended for a Facebook business page, the average person, the person that is doing an average job and having their posts seen by about 5.2% of the population, will get their posts in front of eyeballs 18,304 times in a year. But if you are rocking it, then you can get your posts in front of 109,000 eyeballs, or, 1,009, what, 109,000 times throughout the year is what I'm trying to say. So it compounds. You need to have excellent organic reach, and part of that means understanding the algorithm. So that's what we're talking about today. Here we go. So before we talk about the details about the algorithms, let's make sure that we're clear about what an algorithm is, shall we? It's a big word. So the Facebook, well, algorithms in general are the math and the science behind the social media platforms that do crunch the numbers to try to give the user the content that they want to see. So they take information like, what kind of posts has this person interacted with in the past? And it crunches the numbers about how is this post performing so far in the first couple of hours that it has been posted. It takes all of this information, like millions of gigabytes or whatever of information, and creates your news feed so that when you're scrolling and the posts that you're seeing, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, they're all trying to guess what you want to see in order to keep you on the platform as long as possible. So I have I'm going to also read what I have here because it might say it in a different way that will help you understand. So the Facebook algorithm works by taking all of the posts in a user's network and ranking them based on what that user is most likely to engage with. It boosts Facebook posts or Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. It boosts the posts that you're likely to be interested in, and it hides the posts your behavior indicates that you won't engage with, and then scores and ranks posts based on which posts will be most interesting to you. So from a business perspective, this is great because our posts will be seen, if we're doing it right, by the people that want to see our posts. So it's about getting on board with the algorithms. It's about going with the flow down the river instead of trying to swim upriver against the current. So we're going to focus on Facebook, Instagram, and a little bit into LinkedIn as well today, but certainly each algorithm on each platform has its own thing going on, right? So Facebook algorithm ranking signals. So in other words, what does the Facebook algorithm care about? Okay, so the Facebook algorithm cares about, number one, engagement, which is how people are engaging in that post. So if they're liking, commenting, sharing, even sending it in a Facebook message, a personal Facebook message to somebody else, all of those engagement ranking signals, Facebook collects that information. So it's important. Relationships is important. So the Facebook algorithm gathers the information about who you are interacting with on Facebook, whether it's other people or other pages, who is posting the content, and if the profile is complete. So it's important, for example, if you're setting up a Facebook page or even a Facebook group, to complete all of the information in the About section. It also, the Facebook algorithm in this relationships category, also, let me say it this way, it has more importance on the relationships between the people as compared to between people and Facebook pages. So people to people relationships are super important, for the Facebook algorithm. All right, content type. So that's an important ranking signal as well. And if you've attended some of my other trainings, you'll know that video is preferred by the algorithm. Images are preferred, and things like links are not preferred. So the content type is important to consider. Facebook uses predictions, like I kind of talked about when explaining the algorithm. It will predict what you are most likely to interact with. And recency. So people are less likely to see a post on Facebook that you created a week ago. They're actually not very likely at all, compared to a post that you have just created that just went out on your feed. Okay, so that's kind of some of the theory stuff, but I want you to leave here today with some things to implement right into your strategy. So here are my 12 tips for working with the Facebook algorithm. Feel free to take a picture of this page, grab your phone and take a picture if that's easy for you, or write them down, excuse me. So getting my notes, because I put together a whole bunch of notes for you guys. And here we go. So number one, avoid some common mistakes. Where's my list of common mistakes? There we go. Okay. So common mistakes are clickbait. So any posts that are asking for clicks or asking for likes, you just kind of want to avoid that kind of behavior. It's fine over on Instagram. The Instagram algorithm doesn't mind it, but on Facebook, don't say things like this post, share this post. It causes some flags. Post with abnormal engagement patterns. So if you have a lot of posts with not very much engagement, and then, for example, you join, there's these engagement groups that you can join on Facebook, and you can kind of have other people in the world engage with a certain post. Even within networking groups, they sometimes do that. So if it's abnormal engagement, all of a sudden, like a big peak in engagement, that will flag your account. So try to have consistent engagement, and don't try some of those weird tactics where you're joining groups just to get engagement on a certain post. You want things to progress naturally and organically. Spammy links. You don't want to use spammy links. You don't want to repeat content. So you don't want to copy and paste the same caption again and again and again. Facebook will notice and will decrease your algorithm score on that post. Also, don't use a lot of text-only posts, because as humans, we are attracted to images and videos, first of all, but also the algorithm doesn't love that. And what else? Talked about that. Intensely promotional page content prompting readers to make a purchase. If you have a lot of words like on sale now, buy my thing, go to this link, a lot of call to action words on most or all of your posts, that's a very common mistake. You want to have a nice mix of content types. So that's number one, avoid those common mistakes. Number two, engage with your audience. So, posting your content to Facebook and then just waiting for organic reach to happen, it just doesn't cut it anymore. So an important part of social media content creation and social media marketing is engaging on your platforms. Don't post and ghost. So be social on social media. So reply to the comments and messages. Take some time to scroll with your business hat on. So scroll and interact as your business on Facebook in order to get the most out of the platform. Something else, I mentioned before that the Facebook algorithm prioritizes the relationships between people to people as opposed to people to business. You know what I mean? So it would be really great if your users shared your content to their own personal feeds so that their friends and families can see the content. So how can you do that? You can ask behind the scenes for people to share. If you have employees, for example, ask them to share the Facebook page posts onto their personal feeds. That can be a way to reach more people. All right, number 3, get your audience to engage with one another. Yes, absolutely. So conversation starters are a great thing to do on Facebook because it starts those comments, and comments are a key indicator to the Facebook algorithm that people are interested in your post. So you want people to have conversations around your content. So post conversation starters, ask questions, ask simple questions that people can respond to, and then go back and continue that conversation, right? In Facebook groups, this is ultra important. In a Facebook group, you're building a community. And so it's all about not just you broadcasting to the world. It's not one to many conversation style. It should be many to many. So those people in the Facebook groups should be posting themselves. They should be, having conversations with other people inside of your group, growing that community. Number 4, encourage employee involvement. So I kind of mentioned this before, but you can ask your employees to post about your brand. You can ask them to, make a post about how much they love working at your business or that kind of thing, or just sharing the posts around. It really is about educating them and encouraging them. I don't believe you could force them to do that. That doesn't seem legit to me. But certainly encouraging them to get involved in the conversation with and around your business on social media, if they're comfortable, goes a long way. And that can, we can expand that not only to employees, but volunteers or business associates, people that are important, in the circle of the business and so forth. Number 5, aim for reactions over likes. So you might have heard this before, but a while ago, a few years ago, when Facebook changed it from just the Facebook like to also the wow and the sad face and all of the reactions that you can have other than just the thumbs up. You know what I'm talking about? You can click like or you can click wow. The something other than a like ranks higher algorithmically compared to a like. So you want to be sharing content that sparks some kind of emotion in your target audience. So instead of just, that was a great inspirational quote, you want to go for the wow, right? Go for the wow and get people to use those reactions. Number 6, post Facebook stories. Yep. So using Facebook stories is like a sneaky way to bypass the algorithm because the stories aren't part of the Facebook newsfeed. So the algorithm rules don't really apply to Facebook stories. And Facebook stories get over 500 million daily viewers, and that number is constantly increasing. So it's a great way to get more eyes on your posts. Right? So don't be afraid to use Facebook stories. Number 8, create or engage with Facebook groups. The algorithm currently is preferring group content quite a bit. So groups that foster community and connection and have lots of people-to-people conversations going on, those can those can be really effective and appear in many people's news feeds because the algorithm will serve them up to them. Some quick facts for you.
All right, so step 4 is now that we have our marketing in place, now we have to fill in all of these holes or additional.
Sorry, if you could, I can't hear you anymore. And if you could leave the questions to the end, that would be awesome.
You missed number 6.
Okay, thank you. Someone else was talking and I didn't know who that was. So number 6, time your posts correctly. Yeah, thanks. So remember how timing and recency, so ranking. So, sorry, I'm thrown off a bit. Let me breathe. So yes, time your posts correctly. The Facebook algorithm will serve up the most recent posts first. So if your post comes out at 2 in the morning and your people aren't online until 6 p.m. the next day, then they're not very likely to see your posts. So ways that you can time your posts correctly is take a look at your insights on Facebook and know when your people are online. Every audience is different, right? Some people are trying to reach stay-at-home moms, others are trying to reach younger people or retired people. Everybody is different. Every target audience is different. So you need to find the right time for your audience. So make sure to check your Facebook analytics regularly because the Facebook metrics are always changing. That is that. We talked about Facebook stories. Okay, back to Facebook groups. Talked about Facebook groups. Oh yes, I was going to tell you, so in 2019, there were over 10 million groups on Facebook with 1.4 billion monthly users of Facebook groups. And that was back in 2019. Facebook has been pushing Facebook groups more and more over the last couple of years. So those numbers are probably double, I'm guessing. And here's an interesting note. The Facebook algorithm pushes posts from groups that users interact with the most. So posting valuable like conversation starters in your business's Facebook group is another great way to get those eyes on your posts. You want conversation starters if you are in Facebook groups because the algorithm highly favors conversation, people-to-people conversation. So the more comments you can get in the groups, the better. All right, number 9, go live on Facebook. You've probably been hearing this for a few years now, but live video is one of the most authentic and intimate ways to spread your message and connect with your audience. Live video gets approximately 6 times more engagement than standard videos. 6 times, you guys. So if you want to reach your audience and you haven't been, live video might be key for you. Reading my notes. Yeah. All right, the favorites list. So did you know that people can tag a Facebook page as a favorite, and then when that Facebook page, and I'm talking about business pages, when a Facebook page creates a new post, people will all automatically see it at the top of their feed if they have it listed as their favorites. So it's a little bit tricky because a lot of people don't know about this feature, but you certainly could tell your followers about that favorites thing and try to get them maybe in an email, if you're doing email marketing, you could send out an email. Did you know you can add us to your favorites? And maybe have some screenshots of how to do that because you might need to educate your audience a little bit. Not a lot of people use that, but every user has 30 slots for their favorite Facebook business pages. So that's kind of cool. Next is making sure I'm not missing any, post engaging videos. Yes, video content over the past few years has been super key It's getting more and more important for businesses to be using video on social. So the length, so I'm going to say this. A lot of people ask me, how long should my video content be? And there's no real straightforward answer to that, I don't think. It's more about the length of the video, like as long as you can hold your viewer's attention to the end, that's the important piece. So if it's nice and short, then you're kind of more likely to be able to hold their attention to the end, because we're a little bit squirrely these days. So we have short attention spans. So as long as you can hold their attention to the end, that's what you want to be doing. So practice and try, test different things, try some shorter videos, try some longer videos, and see what works for your audience. I will tell you that the longer people are watching your videos, the higher your ranking signals will be. So if they're watching, only the first couple of seconds of your videos and then scrolling on by, the algorithm won't love that content. But if they're watching your videos to the end, or they're watching at least a couple of minutes, that is awesome. And the algorithm will push that video out to more and more people. You'll get an extra boost if your video is searched for directly, if your video is longer than 3 minutes, if your video is original, right? Original content always wins. And if your video is posted directly to Facebook, not, uploaded to YouTube, and then you share the link. So that's a little bit about video. You want your videos to be engaging, captivating, keeping your audience's attention. And then tip number 12 on Facebook is support your organic momentum with ad spend. So sometimes Facebook, if you have a business page, they will send you a notification that says this post is performing really well. You could consider boosting it, or whatever it says. Facebook isn't lying about that. If your organic content, so organic meaning unpaid, if your organic content is already performing fairly well, that's a signal that it would also likely perform really well with a bit of ad budget added on. So do consider that. Even 20 bucks can go a long way. So before I move on, the Facebook algorithm is always changing, but some of these things stay pretty consistent. You want to engage with your audience, you want to create quality content, you want to be involved in the conversation, be social on social media, and use some of the top features that the platform is rolling out. Okay, breathe. Oh yes, here I have a fun analogy for you. Ready? Because, talking about algorithms all day long can get a little bit boring. So I have an analogy for you. It's all about creating social media content. So imagine that you are preparing a meal, right? We all have to prepare meals, sometimes for our families, at least for ourselves. We have to feed ourselves. And I'm going to compare feeding ourselves or feeding our families to social media content creation for business. I know it's kind of weird, but go with it with me here. So in order to be successful, to feed yourself and eat healthy food, you must create a meal plan, right? So have you ever done this? Have you guys ever sat down on a Sunday and created a meal plan? This is what I'll eat for lunch on Monday. This is what I'll eat for supper on Monday, and so on and so forth, and write it all out, make a plan. When you make a meal plan, it includes more variety, more vegetables. It probably doesn't include McDonald's takeout. And so making a meal plan is key for eating healthy. And in comparison to that, creating a social media strategy and a posting plan is key for having success on social media. So similar to eating, you can't have success eating healthy without a meal plan, or it's very difficult. And you can't have success, or it's very difficult to have success on social media for business without a plan, you guys. You need a plan. So there's 5 comparisons here. That was number 1. Number 2 is grocery shopping. So in order to feed yourself properly, you need to have some food in your fridge and in your cupboards, right? You need the food. So similarly, with social media, you need to have your assets. You need to have, your logos, your colors, your pictures, your video content that you're going to use, your gathered up hashtags, all of that information. So these assets are important to have success on social media, and you need to gather them in some place that is accessible to you. Excuse me. Number 3, cooking skills. In order to feed yourself properly and maybe your family, you need to have some cooking skills. You need to know how to chop the vegetables. You need to know how to fry the bacon, whatever it is. And similarly with social media, you need to have skills as well. You need to have writing skills. You need to have some design, at least some basic design skills in order to be successful with social media for business. 4th, you need some tools. When you're cooking, you need pots and pans. You need tongs and the flipper thing. Never know what the flipper thing is called, but you need those cooking tools. And with social media, you need tools too. You need apps, perhaps, tools, online tools, things like Canva, and you need to know how to use those tools properly. And lastly, you need the time. So if you're cooking for yourself or your family, you need to set aside some time to do the thing. You need to cook. So if you're making tacos one night, those tacos, even though you meal planned, you grocery shopped, you have the cooking skills, you have the pots and pans, if you don't make the time, the tacos just aren't going to naturally appear. And same with social media content. You need to make the time, maybe time block it into your calendar, and take the time to create that content and schedule it to land on your social media platforms. Right? Who knew? Social media marketing for business is like cooking. Okay, Kim, you're weird, but whatever. All right, next up, back to business here, you guys. Instagram algorithm ranking signals. Whew, there's 4 of them. So we have 4 key factors that influence the Instagram algorithm for feed posts. So Instagram has a bunch of things going on. They have stories and reels. These ranking signals, they're kind of across the board, but these are specific to the feed posts when you're scrolling up and down. So number 1, post information. So Instagram considers, is it a photo or a video? When was it posted? How many likes does it have? So Instagram gathers that post information, and that's important to the Instagram algorithm. Next is information about the account that is creating the content. So how interesting are they to you? Are they your friend? Do you follow them? How often do people engage with their content? So the account is important too. The post is important, the account is important. Also, your Instagram, your past Instagram activity comes into play here. So do you tend to watch a lot of videos? What type of content do you typically engage with? Like, save, share. And finally, your interaction history. So do you typically like or comment on that poster's posts? And that kind of thing. All of those things are important to the algorithm. Yippers. So 6 tips for you in regards to the Instagram algorithm. Let me get my Instagram research. You should see all the paperwork I have, you guys. I did my research, sure did. So consistently create and post Instagram Reels. Instagram Reels are hot right now. They've been around for over a year, I believe, but they're still being heavily promoted by Instagram across the entire platform. They get twice as much real estate, twice as much space in the Instagram Explore page. So people are more likely to click on them just for the fact that they are larger, right? And I gotta say that the algorithm just loves them. So when I'm looking at my stats, my numbers on my Instagram account, some of my posts reach 100, 200, if I'm lucky, 300 people, but a reel will reach 3 or 4,000 people. So 10 times as many people, and they're more likely to be new people. So if you want to reach new people that aren't already following you on Instagram, Reels is the way to go. Sorry, Michelle. I know, Michelle, you're here. You didn't want to hear that, but too bad. Number 2, encourage more interactions with Instagram stories stickers. So first of all, you should be using Instagram stories as well. Yes, yes, yes. Stickers are a great way to encourage audience engagement. So it's a great way to interact with your audience. And they're great like conversation starters, right? So there's a ton of Instagram stickers. Oh my goodness. But the best ones, I'd say there's 3 that I would focus on to get more interactions in your stories: poll, emoji slider, and question stickers. Those are the best to start to have those conversations with your people. And you can absolutely follow up with those people if they've engaged with you in stories on your stickers. It's a great opportunity to send a follow-up direct message, a DM. So DM them and say, oh, that's funny. You voted this on my sticker. I was just being silly. What do you think about that? And just ask another question and have a conversation. Number 3, drive conversations with engaging captions and comments. Absolutely. So comments and likes are super important when it comes to feed ranking. So it's a great idea to encourage as many comments and likes as possible when you're writing your captions. So in other words, write excellent captions that drive engagement. You want people to be commenting on your posts. Over on Facebook, the Facebook algorithm, and I mentioned this before, doesn't love it when you say things like comment below, like my post. The Instagram algorithm doesn't care. You can totally include a call to action in every single one of your Instagram captions. So comment below and tell me what you think, or double tap this post if you agree. Those sorts of things can be, really, really effective over on Instagram. You can even ask people to tag a friend in the comments. That's cool. Number 4, optimize your hashtag strategy. So hashtags are the search tool of Instagram, right? And so if you want your feed posts, so your regular feed posts, your photos and your videos, to be reaching more people, then you must use hashtags. And it's no longer enough, my friends, to just, type those hashtags on the fly. You need well-researched, optimized hashtags. It's kind of funny. Back in, I believe it was October or November, Instagram announced like there's a big fiasco over on Instagram and in the social media marketing world all about the number of hashtags to use on Instagram. It's quite funny. The head of Instagram, Adam M, he said that it was a different channel. Anyways, Instagram themselves said that 2 to 5 hashtags was the best. So when you're creating your feed posts, it's best to use 2 to 5 hashtags on each post. And people's heads exploded, because if hashtags are the search tool of Instagram, and if you're allowed to use up to 30 hashtags per post, then logistically, shouldn't you be using lots of hashtags? Because the more hashtags you have, the more likely people are to discover your content through searching hashtags, right? Yeah. So that was kind of funny, because people started to do their research on this. So they started to do scientific experiments over on Instagram about, if I use 5 hashtags, how many people will see my post? If I use 10 hashtags, how many people will see my posts? If I use 20 or 30? And so later.com, which is a big guy in the field, they analyzed millions and millions and millions of Instagram posts, and they discovered that in fact 30 hashtags is best if you're looking for engagement on Instagram. About 20 is best if you're looking for your maximum reach. So engagement means likes and comments and shares and such. Reach means how many people are seeing your content. So for my social media agency, we aim for 20 to 30 hashtags per post on Instagram. And these hashtags are always well researched, right? It's not just fly by the seat of your pants hashtags, because there is strategy behind it. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5, cross promote your Instagram content. So if you're looking for a quick and easy kind of way to get your posts and content, Instagram content, in front of more eyeballs, there's ways, just like on Facebook, you know how you can click the share button and share, for example, a Facebook page post into a group, or from your Facebook page onto your personal timeline, or any of those kind of things. You can do similar stuff over on Instagram. So here's a couple examples. You could, when you're creating a reel, you can share a preview of your reel to your Instagram feed. And it's just a little toggle button on Instagram when you do that, when you're creating your reel. So yes, do that. Add a feed post to your Instagram stories. So take your post that you put into your feed, hit that little airplane button underneath, and share it into your Instagram stories with a tap here GIF added, so that they click on that and go and read the caption of your post as well. So that's a couple of ways to cross promote your Instagram content within Instagram. And number 6, super important, you guys. I'm all about the numbers and the data. Use your Instagram analytics to see what's working and, of course, what is not working. So I recommend at least once a month taking a look at your numbers, seeing what's working, continue to do the things that are working, and of course, don't continue to do the things that are not working. Your analytics and your numbers should help you to fine-tune your social media marketing plan, and you should track your key metrics over time. So it's not just enough, I believe it's not just enough to look at them monthly, but to put them in a chart or graph of some kind so that you can see those long-term trends, right? Alrighty. LinkedIn, yeah. So, especially if you are in a business to business type of field where you are trying to reach other business owners, LinkedIn might be a place to consider for your social media content. So 5 quick tips. We're not going to spend a ton of time on LinkedIn, but 5 quick tips over on LinkedIn. Number 1, choose the right time to post. And again, it's different for every target audience, but generally the best times to post on LinkedIn are between 7 and 8 a.m. and or between 5 and 6 p.m. in your time zone. If you're looking for the most engagement, the most clicks, the most shares, it happens on Tuesdays between 11 a.m. and noon. Sure does. Next up, type of post. Checking my notes here. Yes, so LinkedIn users, they're most likely to share posts that are videos. Number 1 is videos. Number 2 is picture posts, and then posts with plain text. And that's really similar to Facebook. Video content across the board is most likely to be engaged with. So video, photo, and then just text with nothing else. So consider doing more video is what that means. If you are adding a link to LinkedIn, copy and paste the link in, but then delete the link so it keeps it nice and clean looking. So let it auto-populate, like let it fill in the preview of the link and then delete the link. Okay, next, I think that's all for that section. Yep. Hashtags on LinkedIn. So hashtags are a thing over on LinkedIn as well, and it's recommended to use between 3 and 5 per post. You want to use those hashtags strategically and consistently. So the more often you're using the hashtags, the more likely you are to show up in search results and such. So use those hashtags consistently. Number 4, build and engage with your community. So add more people as connections on LinkedIn. Do it strategically, right? Like don't add people that you have nothing in common with and that wouldn't help to elevate your presence. But yeah, continue to build your community and engage with them. Just like I said earlier, social media is social. So you can't just, have a LinkedIn profile and never log in and expect that you're going to get any results. You have to spend some time on the platform. Okay, number 5, optimizing your content for engagement. This was really interesting. I didn't know this golden hour thing. So something that I learned through my recent research, there's the golden hour stuff. The first 60 minutes after posting content on LinkedIn are most crucial for your content marketing success. So you want that post to get engagement within the first 60 minutes. So how can you do this? Well, you can notify your employees about the post, or you can, call upon a business best friend to, hey, I just posted a really important LinkedIn post. Would you mind checking it out and maybe commenting? It's totally fine to do behind the scenes. I do that with a few business associates. Use mentions and hashtags. So again, those hashtags can be really effective for giving that initial boost of engagement. And also, if it's appropriate, tag other LinkedIn users. So if you're talking about a project that you worked on collaboratively, for example, make sure that you tag that person that you were working on the project with. All right, golden hour stuff. That was new to me. So let's take a moment, breathe, and think about one thing that you'll implement right away. I'd love to see your guys' answers in the chat if you're watching live. If you're checking this out later, if it's on YouTube, you can comment below, that kind of thing, or email me. But tell me one thing that you'll implement right away that you learned today. So put it in the chat if you're here live, and also write it down for yourself, because I want you to do the thing. I want you to be successful.
Kim, sorry, I can't find the chat. This is Sue.
I can answer questions at the end. Thanks.
I know. I just want to, I tap on the screen. I can't get the chat to come up. Sorry.
Yeah. So is this you? Look at my sad little guy. Are you frustrated, overwhelmed, confused, not having a plan? You don't have likes, you don't have sales. Nobody seems to be commenting or liking your post, or maybe it's just your mom liking your posts. Oh. So here's what I promised I would talk about just for a brief moment. So I have a social media manager training course from basics to buzzing. And these are all of the things that you'll learn And my students are reporting they're coming out with confidence. They're coming out of this course saying, I now have the tools that I need to effectively post on social media and get those engagements and get those leads and sales. So that's super cool. This is my live training. Well, I have two versions of it really, live and pre-recorded. So small class sizes in the live training, 24 hours of training via Zoom. It's eligible for the Canada Alberta Job Grant. So winner, chicken dinner. If you're in Alberta, you can get it subsidized by the government. I include opportunities to practice what you've learned and get feedback. I have guest speakers, a copywriter, and a graphic designer that join us. The cost is $13.99, but with the grant, it brings the cost down to only $466 for 24 hours of training. It's amazing stuff. Oh, some pop-ups, that's fun. Forgot about those. If you're interested in this, send me a text. 403-638-8690, and we will chat about how to get you hooked up with that grant and get you trained up. This is what some of my people are saying about the things. Highly recommend, awesome, very current, finding confidence, comfortable and confident. See, everybody says confident. That's pretty cool. So there's also my pre-recorded 6-week course, which you can access whenever you like. The cost is only $297. And if if you're watching this live or recorded, I have a coupon code for you. It's actually friend without an S. Oops, typo. And I'll get you that link later, you betcha. So, checking my time, I'm going to stop the recording. Those of you that are here live, we do have some time for questions and answers. And thanks so much for being here, for watching the recording.